Okay, Dostie here again with Dostie's View, and again, I'm going to talk about boots. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I've talked about it before. A lot of people have been discussing it online over the past couple of years. Scarpa announced they intend to come out with a new line of Telemark boots, which I think is great, but personally, I'm starting to think that the concept of a new line implies that a whole bunch of things are going to change. And while as long as they're successful in that, that's awesome, that's great. It also implies the potential for catastrophic trouble, because if the line isn't done right, then that's a lot of money to invest in a line, when the reality is we only need an addition to the existing line. Let's look at what Scarpa's got for boots. In 75 millimeter, there's the T4, the T2, the T1, and there used to be a T-Race, but that's been dropped, okay? And really, the two dominant boots there are the T1 and the T2. I understand there's not going to be any more development in terms of 75 millimeter boots because the performance limits of 75 millimeter have been reached and exceeded with NTN. NTN offers much more torsional rigidity and more power and control on downhill. And then with the addition of 2-pin technology to Telemark bindings and tech inserts in the toe of NTN boots, the efficient touring ability, super efficient touring, where you're only lifting the boot, not the boot and the binding, okay? So that's fantastic. But on the NTN side, there's the TX Pro and the TX Comp. And what's obviously missing is a T2, or what used to be the TX. And I also know that the goals of the new line were to have a vastly improved walk mode, and that technology exists. And so the question everybody is asking is, okay, so why can't you just give us that? Just give us an improved walk mode. And I think the majority of Telemark skiers would be quite happy with that. In fact, a good percentage of them don't even care, all right? They're plenty happy with the TX Pro. That's the #1 selling Telemark boot right now. And most people who are in a TX Pro are very happy with it. Their only complaints might be if they are a backcountry telemarker, in which case the boot, yes, it's kind of heavy. We can kind of compensate for that with 2-pin tech toe bindings like TTS or Meijo or Lynx. So that helps a little bit with weight, but the main thing is the walk mode is not very good. And the reality is the walk mode isn't like terrible, it's just terrible compared to what's possible with alpine touring boots. And I think that we would love to see greater walk mode range of motion in the cuff, especially towards the rear when going uphill. But I'll also admit that once I'm going uphill, except on the flats, what exists today is acceptable, and I'm not saying I wouldn't like us to equal what alpine touring offers, but we don't necessarily have to, just improve what we got, okay? So really, all we need in the short term, I mean, a new line would be great, okay? But to come up with lighter weight, man, that might require developing all new materials, and that might take a long time. And in the meantime, we're missing opportunities. There is demand from retailers for an NTN based T2 In other words, the old TX. But if you improve the TX and made the walk mode better, man, awesome. Bring it on. That's all we need. Just a TX with a better walk mode. Don't worry about saving any weight, and give us more options. In essence, you know, a T2, a T1, and a T-Race in the NTN platform, and eventually a T3. Yeah, that would be awesome too, or a T4. Let's not wait for unobtainium to be developed. Let's just come up with something that addresses our needs now. And I'm going to throw in a little wrinkle too on this as well. When you come out with that better walk mode, you got to remember some of us ski in walk mode. So it can't be so loose that I can't ski in walk mode anymore. I'm not the only one who does that. There's plenty of us. A bunch of us who grew up on leather, and we really like that looser feel in the cuff. Not too loose, but looser, you know, not locked down. And yet we want an even looser walk mode for touring, okay? So just quick look at what we would all love to see in boots. Thank you, Scarpa. And in the meantime, the rest of us, we are going to continue to spread Telemark. See you next week. Adios.